The Korean War began as the tensions between the Soviets and the United States rose in what came to be known as the Cold War. In the aftermath of World War II, the Soviets implemented a communist government in the north, while the Americans guided a democratic government in the south. This caused a division between North and South Korea at the 38th parallel. In 1949, both countries had withdrawn most of their troops from Korea to let them develop. The Soviets took advantage of the absence of American troops in South Korea and instigated North Korea to invade their southern counterpart in an attempt to take over the peninsula and spread communist influence throughout the nation. In 1950, about 75,000 North Korean troops charged across the 38th parallel in the first military attack of the Cold War. The North Korean army was stronger and more advanced than the Southern army, and they were able to quickly take over most of South Korea and push them all the way back to the Pusan perimeter at the Nakdong River.
The North Korea invaded the South on June 25th, 1950. And so suddenly we began to hear the cannons and things like that from the Northern Territory, and within 3 days, the city of Seoul, where I lived, was overtaken, and it was communism everywhere.
America and many democratic countries were alarmed by this sudden attack. Fearing the beginning of a communist campaign to take over the world, the UN decided that they needed to send troops to help South Korea resist North Korean forces. With help from the UN troops, they were able to stop the North Korean forces at the Nakdong River from advancing any further. North Korea was constantly attacking the perimeter, trying to find their way into Pusan. For about 6 weeks, the UN troops used the mountain ranges and valleys as natural defenses as well as the Pusan port for sending more troops, equipment, and food. In the midst of this struggle, the UN troops began to plan a counter-offensive move. They encountered 500 of the North Korean infantry and defeated them and proceeded to overrun the North Korean 6th Division headquarters in a surprise attack. After many more similar encounters, North Korea had lost much of their food, weaponry, and soldiers. Due to the conditions of the North Korean troops, the UN troops were able to sneak an amphibious landing at Incheon behind North Korean army and a pincer attack from 2 fronts. This maneuver was led by Supreme Commander General MacArthur, who was successful in breaking the North Korean supply lines and recapturing the city as whole.
We, the citizens of Seoul, could not do anything until MacArthur, General MacArthur came, and he then with his military trapped the North Korean soldiers and gained our city of Seoul and freed us. And that's when we were able to come down south.
The Incheon landing changed the course of the war. In October, the Allies had defended themselves from the communist forces and reclaimed their land at the 38th parallel. But the Korean War was far from over.